It's the weekend, which means it's another What a Shout brought straight to you by the Racing Post and Bet365. Dave Orton back in the chair, looking at the hot topics of the week. Royal Ascot clues, what did the panel make of them? We've got a great show for you coming up. All the hot topics, of course, looking at each of the big races and a big shout and naps at the end. So, who have we got for you this Friday? As promised, it's a stellar show. Paul Kealy back in the chair. We dragged you back up into the studio.
Yeah, good. Survived rather than thrived at Royal Ascot, but it got better as the week went on, and
a lot of guessing going on, wasn't there? Really? So,
well, I mean, there's a lot of guessing this time of year, isn't it? I mean, you had 150 to 1 winner of the Cov, but it probably wasn't a fluke. Trainer said it wasn't unexpected. Forget the price. It'll be interesting to see.
Clive Cox knows how to get these 2-year-olds, doesn't he? He's happy about the weekend. Got some pearls for us?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So I tell you, it's been hot out there, hasn't it? Really, really hot.
Too hot for someone like me.
We're cooling down a little bit, which is quite nice. I think there's a bit of rain on the horizon. Talking about cool, we promised you a big guest. We've got one. A man that doesn't need to go one better than at Ascot. That's because he broke his duck. It's Ben Curtis on the line. Ben, your What a Shout debut. Good to have you, buddy.
Yeah, no, brilliant. Thanks for having me.
No problems whatsoever. Ben, just talk us through your... So look, it was Dandalla, wasn't it, for Carl Burke? For anyone that doesn't know, where have you been in the Albany? Handicappers have rated it, I think, just about the best 2-year-old performance of the week, wasn't it? So what was it like? Where does she go next?
Yeah, first and foremost, it was brilliant to break my Royal Ascot duck. I've been trying for a while, so that was good to get off my back. She was ultra professional and impressive down there, and like you said, she's now been rated 107, which is I think the top rated 2-year-old in the country, and in my opinion she deserves it after that.
Any idea where she might pitch up next?
There's a couple of races in mind. There's a Group 2 in Newmarket for her, and then there's also the Pre-Morney, but I know Clive Cox and Wesley Ward are both talking about sending their horses there, so both races are in the mix, and I'll leave that up to Carl to decide.
Just give the viewers a little idea about yourself, Ben. I mean, you started off with John Ox, didn't you? I always remember you riding for the Aga Khan colours for John Ox over in Ireland. What was the decision to come over to Britain?
I think more opportunities. There's just a lot more racing here. There's more chance of finding a good horse, and I was still riding winners, still getting plenty of rides, but I just said I needed to further my career, and the only way I could do that was to probably move somewhere else. So I had a chat with John Ox, had a chat with Mick Cannan, Johnny Murter, and Niall McCuller, and they all said give it a go, and you can always come back. So I took their advice, packed up the car, and moved over to Alan Swimbank in the north, and haven't looked back since.
No, you haven't. Absolutely not. Of course, all-weather champion through the 2020 season. And Ben, great to have you here. We'll get all of Ben's thoughts about his rides coming up this weekend and further afield as well. Waiting patiently in the wings from our sponsors, the stalwart. It seems like you're part of the furniture now, Pat Cooney.
Yes, held up in the rear at the moment, but coming through with a late run now, Dave. Good morning to you.
Good morning, absolutely. Yeah, we do this show on Friday mornings. Wherever you're watching, it's classic weekend again. Let's get stuck in. Hot topic time then, and well, we could have picked many a bone out of Royal Ascot, that's for sure. But I suppose we have to look ahead to the Derby. Lots of people having their say on this, Keels. We've got now a clear favourite. Military March for Saib Bin Sarur in the week has come out. That means that English Kin and Ed Walker, 5-2 favourite. Tom Marquand, 2 from 2 on the horse. Frankie's in the plate.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the first time a very good jockey has been jocked off by a brilliant one, is it? I mean, it's happened throughout the years. I think Tom Marquand has handled it exceptionally well. Part of me thinks, yeah, I can understand, and the other part of me thinks, well, hang on a minute. I mean, Steve Cawthon rode a Triple Crown winner when he was 18. I think Walter Swinburne had barely turned, was not quite 20 when he rode Curragh. Like, I mean, these jockeys are good enough. They're good enough. And Tom Marquand knows the horse. He's ridden Grade 1 winners on Australia already this season. He's booting home horses at any sort of price.
Yeah.
I think he's had an 80 and a 66 winner this year already. And personally, I would have given him the go.
You would have kept him
but,
on.
I mean, it took
Epsom's very tricky, isn't it? And obviously, Bjorn Nielsen, the owner of Stradivarius, I should say, who's got the record with Frankie, the association. Owners have a big part to play in this.
Yeah,
don't
of course. I mean, you know, I wouldn't say I'd argue with it. I feel for him. I think if it was me, I'd have let him ride the horse. I'd be confident enough in him. He's going to be one of. I mean, people like him and Ben are going to be challenging Oisin Murphy for the title for the next few years. Like, you know what I mean? These are the up and coming guys that are going to be there or thereabouts. And you know, at some point, they're all going to get big jobs. Right, you know, and to me, they're just good enough already.
Paul Kealy's thoughts on English King then, Frankie Dettori. Ben, let's hand this over to you. Obviously, you know Tom well, Standard Park Media team. You're the new breed of jockey. He was also off the mark at Royal Ascot, of course. Who Dares wins the final race of the meeting. Just give us a quick line on your thoughts on exactly what's gone on with this debacle.
Yeah, listen, I think, as you said, Frankie's a long-standing connection with the owners. Tom's a brilliant rider. He'd be well capable of riding him, and if he was good enough to win in the Derby, he'd have him in the right spot. Listen, it's happened to me through my career. I've been jocked off a lot of horses. Tom's 22 and he's very level-headed. I think he's taken it very well. It shows his character, and it's one of those things. It's only going to make him stronger, and hopefully you're getting an opportunity further down the line to go and prove himself on what might be another favourite down the line.
Okay, Pat Cooney, let's just get a quick word from you on this. Of course, Frankie Dettori took quite a long time to get off the mark in the Derby, didn't it? Authorised, wasn't that long ago? I think he was well into his 30s.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talk about Tom Marquand being a young jockey. Well, Frankie might go on for another 10 years himself. But where I am, I'm just very borderline on this. I suppose if he was my horse and I owned him and Frankie was available, I think I would probably pick him to ride. And, you know, Tom Marquand's a wonderful jockey. I think what a nice touch would be if we get to the Arc de Triomphe and Stradivarius is a runner in the Arc, which may be a scenario, Frankie on Enable, there's a spare ride going on Stradivarius, he's in the English King colours, why not put Tom Marquand on him?
There's a curveball. Tom Marquand, if you're watching, you'll get your chance. Let's remind you of the Members Club offer then. Crazy offer that it is as well. Still 3 months for just a tenner. That's all your race replays. They're so important at the moment with little form to go on because of racing's late resumption. All your Racing Post ratings, your handicapper notes, the analysis. Great team that do that. Top tipsters, Kills will be there. Tom Segal, they're all there. Promo code, Racing is back. Right then, let's digest some Royal Ascot clues for you. What did the panel make of some interesting runs, let's face it, for some interesting horses going forward? Kills, I want to come to you first. Stradivarius. Let's talk about his season. Bjorn Nielsen wants to go to the Arc. This could be his last. Is this his final Royal Ascot, for example?
It could be his final Royal Ascot. I mean, he's sitting inside. They're going to set him to start at one point if they're going to run him in the Arc. If he wins the Arc, he goes straight to start, I think. Do we get to call him a mudlark now?
Oh.
I mean,
well, you called it. I mean,
all this doesn't handle soft ground. I mean, it gets on your nerves, but he's now probably, you know, he probably won one of the best performances by a stayer in the last 40 years on ground that he's not supposed to like.
It was a monster
He's either
performance.
improved out of all recognition. I know it was a Gold Cup on paper, but he's either improved out of all recognition, or he just does handle any ground, and that's exactly what he does. I mean, he's a very, very good stayer.
Yeah.
I would say if he runs in the Arc, I would want the ground to be soft to make it more of a test. I really would. You know, and on a good ground, I don't think he'd be fast enough. I think we saw that at, you know, obviously he might have needed to run at Newmarket, but I think we saw that in the Coronation Cup.
Yeah.
So I would say, yeah, soft ground Arc, I'd give him a shot.
Yeah, we've seen it before, haven't we? Order St George, etc. What about Pinatubo? I want you to come on that. Palace Pier, I know you're all over that. What did you make of Pinatubo? Because lots of people are asking, do we go up in trip or down in trip? Just quick summation.
Well, I mean, I think you might as well try both. I mean, why not? I mean, you've got a horse. You now have to understand that, yes, he was a champion 2-year-old. He was brilliant, the best we've seen for a long while. But, you know, he hasn't progressed. He hasn't filled out as physically as some of the other horses. I mean, that happens. 8 months is a long time at a horse of that age, and he's not quite as good. It doesn't mean he's not a Group 1 horse. He's still a Group 1 horse. I think Palace Pier is one of the best milers we've seen for a while. You know, I mean, we have to take Frankel out of this because nobody ever gets anywhere near that. But I mean, he'd be up with the others of the best around. I think
we need a mild star, don't we?
He was exceptionally fast. I mean, his closing spits were apparently amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I thought he won the race easily.
Race of the week, St James's Palace.
Yeah, for me, because it's one of the few I got right. and had a fair bet. A couple of other horses that interest me. Obviously, I've backed Frankly Darling Anti-Post for the Oaks. So I like the fact that she won so well, and I like the fact that we've seen that there's at least another horse, at least one other filly that's miles better than Quadrilateral that holds that Guineas form down for love. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Alpine Star, yes.
Alpine Star is
Yes.
very good.
God, we're really getting through it. We could go on a bit about this for hours, couldn't we? Ben Curtis, what the viewers will want to know is, apart from Dandalla, obviously your stellar moment on the week, was there any horse, that either one that came rushing past you, or was there any winner that you thought, I wouldn't mind riding that?
Yeah, I think Art Power would be my pick of the week as a horse in those terms. I loved his attitude. He was half asleep behind the stalls. He did everything right. And when those stalls opened, nothing was getting anywhere near him. So I think he's a very good horse in the making. And like I said, he's got all the attributes to go further.
Handicaps, don't worry about handicap winners. Palace Pier went on one at St James's Palace. Art Power won a 5 furlong 3-year-old handicap. Would you believe it on the meeting? Lofty targets being mentioned of him for Team Easterby. Just want to come to you, Pat Cooney. A word on Batash, please. Where are you going to go with him? Would you go Breeders' Cup, or would you try a 6th furlong now he's in the twilight of his career?
Well, having watched the Diamond Jubilee on the Saturday over the 6th, I think he'd beat any horse that ran in that race easy enough. But why not stay at 5? Hopefully get your fast ground that you want. Go Goodwood, York. Talks about him going, I don't know, to the Breeders' Cup and the Everest. That's a long old journey for a horse as volatile as him. I was at a Breeders' Cup one year and the noise was just horrendous. I could see him keeling over and, just losing the race before he even had it. It's a long old journey that I'd keep him at home. Go unbeaten. There's not a horse around can get near him at the moment, and the farthest I'd go with him is for the Abbey at the end of the season. So he'll be unbeaten for the rest of the year if they stay in England or France.
Keels?
Yeah, interesting what you said about the crowd there, because that can always be a problem with Batash. I mean, the Everest is 6 furlong. Do you really want to go to Australia?
Stiff enough 6 furlongs as well.
But the Breeders' Cup, it moves around a bit. Sometimes it's 6.5 furlongs. It's Kingdom this year. It's only 5.5. On the turf. So if they were going to go abroad, that's where I would go. I wouldn't bother going to the Everest.
Let's hope they'll let him in over in America. Well, we've got Ben Curtis with us then. Keels, I know you've got a burning question for Ben. Take the floor.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a couple of mates who were talking about backing him for the title a few months ago, and typical me, I didn't bother. They're on at 40-1, and I've been asked to say, should we have more on? He's only 9-2 now. What do you say, Ben?
Well, I said from the start, if I was ever in contention for the title, I'd go everywhere and I'd give it 120%, which is what I'm doing at the moment. I've also always said that Oisin will be very hard to beat. He's so much ammunition behind him and support that he's going to be hard to topple. But we're keeping pace with him at the moment, and I'll be doing my level best to keep hold of his coattails. And like I said, if it comes down to kind of the last couple of months of the season, I'll be going everywhere to try and get winners.
Going everywhere to try and get winners. That's exactly what us punters are trying to do as well. Ben Curtis, could he nick the title? Right then, first of the big race previews for you. I'll tell you what, it's another sizzling weekend. We may be getting a bit more back to normal, but these weekends are winning at the moment. And at 2:40 at Newmarket, the Group 3 Criterion Stakes are burn up over 7 furlongs. Very interesting indeed. Why? Because we've got 2 previous winners coming back into the race. Lamato and Sir Dancelot. One carries a £5 penalty this year, not Lamato as he did last year when winning. Ben, Lamato we think will go off favourite. Henry Candy, fantastic career he's had. They're coming back for more. He won this last year. He's better off at the weights, but he's an 8-year-old. How would you be approaching this race?
Well, listen, Lamato is coming into the race with by far the best form if you look back through it. He is another year older. But Henry Candy's horses are going very well. I've ridden a few from recently, and they're going well at the moment. He's very good at getting the best out of horses. So, like you said, he doesn't have that penalty this year, and that might enable him to get back on the winning board.
Lamato for Ben there. The penalty, it's a big thing. Poor Sir Dancelot's been lumbered with this, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's a terrific 7 furlong horse. I mean, he's just about Group 1 class on fast ground over 7 furlongs. Yeah. But the penalty, these races are so tight, the penalty makes that difficult. The thing for me with Lamato is he's got to do something he hasn't done for 5 years, and that's win first time out.
Yeah.
And that would be the worry. He just seems to be a little bit rusty. He can run to a high level, but not quite high enough generally. So that will worry me. I'm taking a look at Royal Ascot, and I'm thinking that Vale of Kent just ran an absolute blinder in the Hunt Cup. For a horse that raced so keenly from the front, I think the first 6 home, he was the only one of the first 6 home that wasn't held up out the back. And he raced keenly, finished I think it was 3 lengths ahead of the 5th as well. And he might not get an easy lead because Mubtazim's in there, but he'd get on that rail, and he might be very hard to pass. Now he's run, he won the Bunbury Cup. That was on the July course. We're still on the Rowley Mile at the moment, but he won the Bunbury Cup. He stacked them all up from behind last year. His only run there, his first run at Newcastle, he actually missed a kick and raced with a choke out all the way, but that set him up for the Hunt Cup. I think he's one of these Mark Johnson horses that are just so tough, and he'll get to the front, and if he can stack him up behind, you won't get 3 past him. So for me, he's an each-way bet.
Mubtasim, who you mentioned, that's just about my call. I could have picked 3 or 4 in this. Pat Cooney, where are you going?
I always end up going for Lamato. If you say to me Newmarket, fast ground, Lamato, it normally works well, Dave. He's been at Newmarket, both courses, the July and the ordinary course, 9 times, and he's won 5. So a record to die for. He's clearly the best horse in the race. The value's gone out of him, really. I think we were 6 at the start of the week, but to me, he's just one of those horses I keep coming back to. But I take Keel's point that, first time out, his record isn't that impressive. So maybe there's going to be value against him. I'm quite interested in number 7, Turgeman of Roger Varians. Now, not on what he did last time out in the Queen Anne. He was last of 15, but the ground was wrong that day. It's very unusual for Roger Varian to back a horse up so quickly, just 11 days later, and he's visored first time and dropping down in trips. So he must be sending out the right sort of signals. I'd expect a better run from him. But as I say, my eye is drawn to Lamato, fast ground, and Newmarket.
Newmarket back into play, the criterion, tricky race. Right then, racing through the Saturday races, back at Newmarket we go, the 3:15 listed Fairway Stakes. Tricky little race this, Gills. Not a big field. Mark Johnson throws the unbeaten Thunderous in. Ryan Moore takes a ride, 1-1-1. I quite like Vulcan Star for Charlie Appleby, who ran really well behind Mishriff, a race that's working out at the course at the Guineas meeting. Where are you playing?
Yeah, I'm with you. I thought he shaped really well behind Mishriff. I know Mishriff won quite easily, but I think it was a good little race. Thunderous is going to need to prove stamina for a mile 2. He's going up a fair bit in trip. First time out, obviously Ryan Moore probably could have had the choice to ride Man of the Night, who he rode not to best effect at Newbury, got in trouble in a 5-runner race on the rail, but needs to step up a fair bit against the front 2, and I think it is between the front 2. I'll take the one with the run, and that is Vulcan Star.
2 stars for Vulcan then. What about you, Ben Curtis?
Yeah, I'll go for Vulcan Star as well. I think that one's had a run. You wouldn't be worried about Mark Johnson's horse not having a run. He'll have him fit, and I was 3rd the day he won in Regbar, and he's a lovely big horse. Will have a big future, but I think on the day I'll go with you, lads. I think Vulcan Star is the one to beat.
Interesting, isn't it? Because there'll be a lot of backers of Thunderous out there. Pat Cooney, how's the market going to play on this? Will we have a clear fav?
Well, at the moment, Dave, Thunderous is our favourite with Vulcan Star 7 of 4. But I'm with you all. I think you've got to go on the recent run of Vulcan Star, which had plenty of merit to it. I don't doubt Thunderous is probably the best horse in the race, but as you say, he has to prove stamina. He'll probably be bowling along handy, but I think you just go on the Vulcan Star form line of 3 weeks ago and say that sets a decent recent standard. So I wouldn't be surprised if Vulcan Star went off favourite. Whether he wins, we'll have to wait and see.
Oh, the team agree. Vulcan Star, that's 7 to 4 with Bet365. It's under pressure. 3:35, another big race coming at you. Time to go to Newcastle. It's the Pitman's Derby, the Northumberland Plate. Typically wide open as usual, Keels. Where are we going?
Yeah, very, very open. 21 a race. Terrible prize money compared to normal. I think the winner gets less than the runner-up last year.
We could go on about that forever.
That's what we're faced with at the moment, isn't it? But it is as competitive as ever. I like the look of Rainbow Dreamer for Alan King. Now, he won the race of Who Dares Wins last year. Who Dares Wins could have come back and defended, but went to Royal Ascot, won the Queen Alexandra instead. Got a ready replacement in Rainbow Dreamer who, had a go at the winter game and suddenly turned into a very, very useful all-weather horse. Won his first 5, then got beat, finished 4th in the Cigaro. Now,
at Newcastle.
Given at Newcastle, it was his first run at Newcastle. Now, okay, he's lost his unbeaten record, but he's running the Group 3 against horses rated way, way higher than him. The runner-up was second to Stradivarius in the Gold Cup. I mean, albeit about a furlong behind, but I mean, it was, it's still rock solid 2-mile form, and I think he's got a big price. He's running off a mark of 107, so I mean, it's going to take a bit of doing, but I think he's a classy horse, and I've just put another one for One down the bottom called Rodzinski, who I thought found a mile 4 way too short at Haydock Loss. I actually backed him, but he was doing all his best work. He's just a stayer, and I don't think he's badly handicapped. That's ridden by Jane Elliott. Rainbow Dream was ridden by Holly Doyle. One for the girls, I hope.
Yeah, Holly Doyle, when you're hot, you're hot. I like Calm Wenham for Charlie Fellows, who won the consolation race last year. I think he's good. You've got a biggie in him. He should reverse that form with Smart Champion, who just about heads the market, I think, Pat Cooney. Is that right?
Australis is just about a narrow favourite from the horse he beat at Wolverhampton, the Caravan of Hope. There was not much between them that day. And Caravan of Hope, I think he lost a shoe that day. So I think where I am, I think wherever Australis is, both in the race and in the betting, Caravan of Hope would be right next to him. I'm a Rainbow Dreamer fan as well. You're back in horse trained by Alan King. Well, there's no more informed trainer than him around at the moment. But be interested to hear what Ben's take is on Collide. There's been money for that one. We were 16 yesterday. That's now 12-1. Stall 19, I don't know if Ben would find that an issue. So a lively outsider, but a cracking betting race, this one. I just fancy Rainbow Dreamer with Holly Doyle up.
Ben, Collide, classy animal in the race. What went wrong at Royal Ascot?
Listen, I don't think anything went wrong. He still ran a decent race in Ascot. Maybe the ground wasn't right. I don't really know, but he's proven on the all-weather. He won well in Chelmsford the time before. If the Ascot race hasn't affected him, which Hugo said the other day that he's come out of it bouncing, which is why he's ran him. I think he goes there with a great chance, but I also think his other horse, Caravan of Hope, who I rode before, only has 8-4 on its back, is also drawn out near me, I think, in 17. I think that could be the one I have to beat. We all have to beat, because he's got no weight on his back and it will stay the trip. As I said, I've ridden him before and he's got a bit of class about him. So I think Hugo's other horse might be the one to beat.
Right, what do you make of the draw, by the way, Ben?
It's funny in Newcastle. I mean, if you can get a nice position, round Newcastle, around that trip, you don't mind being 3 wide, because they swing out into the middle of the track up the straight anyway. A few of the winners from the last couple of years, only been run for 3 years on the all-weather, but they've been pitched out wide. And listen, if you can get some sort of a position where you're happy and you're travelling, I'm not worried about being a bit wider, because, like you said, you get a clear passage through and you're going to swing into the middle of the track anyway. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that it's not going to hinder us too much.
Really interesting race. You used to have to be low in that race, didn't you?
Yeah, but we're basically turf stats, aren't we? I mean, I think they were 11. I think 2 winners have been 11 and 13, and you'd normally say you wouldn't want to be in the middle, wouldn't you, as well? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Throw it all up in the air. It's the Pitman's Derby, Northumberland Plate. Let's go across the Irish Sea then. Classic time again. It's the Irish Derby, 7:15 at the Curragh. What a Saturday you've got ahead of you out there, punting wise. Pat Cooney. Interesting. Aidan O'Brien throws 6 at the race. He wins it usually more often than not. Santiago, a Queen's Vase winner, backing up quickly. What sort of price do you expect he'll actually go off?
I think he's 3-1 at the moment. I don't see him shifting too much either way, really. If anything, he might shorten up. But I think of all the Aidan's horses that ran well at Royal Ascot, he was probably the most visually eye-catching. At the back of my mind, though, I just think if he's the real deal, he would have waited a week and rocked up at Epsom instead. So I find it hard to get too involved with any at the top of the market. I think they've all got flaws about them, really. But I keep looking at Fiscal Rules of Jim Bolger. A lightly raced horse, just had the 2 runs, ran ever so well in the Irish 2,000 guineas. Will he stay a mile and a half? His dad was just a miler. I suppose there's stamina on the dam side. I'll leave it to Jim Bolger. He knows what he's doing. And I see him as being the each-way selection in the race for sure. Because I look at Aidan's, I think you can get all 6 of them beat.
Okay, I'm Fiscal Rules as well. He's by Make Believe. He was a miler, but the dam's all stamina. And if you look at Make Believe stats, actually, Promising Sire, he could well be down the line. It's not too bad over the mile 4. Keels, give us some help.
Yeah, I'm rowing in with you lot. I mean, you know, Santiago. I mean, this is you know, has ramifications for the Derby at Epsom as well. Now, you know, okay, it might be a bit snobbish, but when it comes to prestige, the Irish Derby's got some, but the Derby at Epsom's the big daddy, isn't it? You know what I mean? And if Santiago was considered anywhere near good enough to contend at Epsom, he'd wait another week and he'd go there. Now, what that means is that Aidan O'Brien clearly thinks he's got considerably better horses at home, because he said he's not going to run it. He's not going to run any horse in both. Right? He's got considerably better horses than Santiago at home for Epsom. Now, Santiago thrashed Berkshire Rocco just as easily as English King did, but he's not good enough to run at Epsom. And English King is 5-2 for the Derby. Now, I think English King's a terrible price anyway. If Santiago gets stumped, which I think he will, I think he'll prove too slow. I think, Aidan O'Brien was talking about running in the Ascot Gold Cup next year, weren't we? Not talking about Champion Stakes and Arcs and things like that. He's not a quick horse. He's dropping down 2 furlongs in trip. I think Fiscal rules. 1 run in a maiden at 2, comes out runs 5th in a Guineas, looking like the trip was way, way too short. Really strong at the end. Half sister won a group race over a mile and 6.
Yeah.
So I think there's stamina there. I think he'll stay. I think he's very much one to beat. I mean, he's got the old team tactics to worry about. I mean, 10 horses are owned by the O'Brien family. He's got to work his way through all of those. But I think he's the horse whose form itself is like that far off the top anyway, and he's going to improve for the trip. And I make him the one to beat.
Form could be boosted all over the place then. Irish Derby, would you believe it, is before the English Derby. Ben Curtis, if you were sitting on Santiago or Arthur's Kingdom, the second favourite, comes basically 8 days later, would you be worried about the bounce?
I would, yeah. I think the two of them had to travel over. It's never an easy race in Ascot. They both had hard races, and they're turning out again for the Irish Derby. So, yeah, I'd be worried that it would have taken a bit out of them. But yeah, I would be. It would definitely be in the back of my mind anyway.
Okay, and would you be a Fiscal rules man, or would you be going for something like Santiago from just because it's Aidan O'Brien?
Listen, I don't know if he's got a ride. I haven't even seen the field for it yet. But if Padraig Beggy's got a ride, I'll probably just back him because he has a knack at nicking these derbies. So I'll just put my finger on whatever he rides.
That's a jockey backing a jockey. What a surprise! Right then, that's all the races done with. Time for the big shout of the week. Could be an interesting one. This, I'll start if you don't mind, chaps. Owners, you seen him on Bournemouth Beach this week? Absolutely unbelievable, isn't it? Why aren't owners back on a racecourse? It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah,
the biosecurity we've got and everything. 2 owners per horse. What's wrong with that? Now's the time.
Well, one section of society is being responsible, other people are being irresponsible, aren't they? I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But yes, the next people to be allowed in have to be the owners. But I mean, let's not just say you can come in, watch the race and bugger off.
Let them enjoy the day.
Pubs are opening soon. Let's give them somewhere to go. It's going to be loads of space there. Let's give them somewhere to go and enjoy the day.
Let's not forget they propped up our industry at a time of need. Paul Kealy, then, while we're on this subject.
Yeah, quite simple. I mean, it's just about anti-post betting, and I think we've seen now that the 1,000 Guineas form is weak. I don't think everyone thought Quadrilateral was really eye-catching then, but another horse has come out and thrashed her. So I'm saying that Love has probably won a classic that was very weak and is an artificially short price. I think Frankly Darling should be favourite for the.
You're getting excited.
I expect her to win.
Yeah, you've got a big ticket about that. Ben Curtis, get something off your chest.
Something off my chest. Something that's been annoying me since Newcastle is that Palace Pier turned up and beat me off, I think, a rate of 98 that day. And then went and won a Group 1, so now I've got that off my chest. I feel a bit lighter.
Oh, it's unbelievable. What is it about Newcastle, Ben? You just don't know what you're facing there, do you?
No, you don't. Look at the good horses that have turned up. Enable, Palace Pier, more recently. There's been some absolutely fantastic horses up there. And when you go 3 lengths clear of the field and you think you put the race to bed and then something comes past you and takes another 4 lengths out of you, you're scratching your head. But it all made sense when we turned up to Ascot.
We were all on. We were all analysing the race afterwards and went, if he'd have waited another 3 seconds. Turns out he bumped into the St James's Palace winner. There you go. Pat Cooney, have a little rant.
Well, it's not really a rant, really. I just think I was heartened by the viewing figures from ITV at Royal Ascot. So it's a real chance to showcase the industry yet again in what's going to be a marvellous end of June and July. So the viewing figures are great. I think we're doing it all sensibly regarding the owners going. But like you, come on, let a couple of owners turn up, surely. But ITV proves this isn't a forgotten sport by any means. It's as big and as popular as it ever was.
Absolutely fantastic. There are your big calls. Time for your naps then. And again, I'm going to take the floor. Vintage Crop, fantastic. Right after the dust is settled on the Irish Derby. Look no further than Master of Reality. This is his race for the taking for O'Brien. Paul Kealy.
I'm very bullish about Fiscal rules. I think the market's got it all wrong. Based on a slow horse coming back in trip for an Irish Derby, and if he was that good, he'd be running an English Derby, Santiago. So Fiscal rules.
We all like Fiscal rules. Ben Curtis, give us a winner this weekend for the viewers.
I think I'll throw in one that has a bit of value to it because I have a couple of short ones, but I'll leave them out. I think Lahore, that I ride in the sprint up in Newcastle. He won very well in Doncaster the last day. He's going to get a strong pace to aim at. and I think he could take all the beating.
Yeah, Sprinter still got with some mileage in him. Pat Cooney, a winner at Newcastle, please.
Yeah, sure. The Chip Chase Stakes, the 150. I quite like Mubaka, Sir Michael Stout. He probably should have run in the Wokingham, but the ground was too soft. He may well have won that. He's a 4-year-old. The second favourite's 8 years old, as is the third favourite. I like progressive sprinters. He could just be the new kid on the block. Sir Michael Stout, 4-year-old. You never normally go too far wrong with him when he pitches him at a group race. So I'm all over Mubaka in the Chip Chase.
Here, there are 4 powerhouse winners for you on the weekend. That's all we got time for then in this week's What a Shout. My thanks to Ben Curtis making his What a Shout debut. Absolutely fantastic. Pat Cooney shoring us up with Bet365 as well. Paul Kealy, thank you very much. Quiet weekend. Are we working this weekend or?
I'm working today. I am off tomorrow. I'll be sitting in front of the telly somewhere with a cold one.
Punting.
Punting, of course.
Absolutely, won't we all? A punting we go. Don't forget, you can get your questions in for Paul, Ben and Pat. All the panellists do look at them below or indeed on Twitter, #WhatAShout. Don't forget to download the free Racing Post app on the App Store or the Google Play Store. Don't forget, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Gamble responsibly. Let's sign off then. This week's What a Shout.